We live in an amazing world that is full of stunning scenery and an abundance of life. Our home that can't be replaced. Our planet has given us life and opportunities, but in return we've shown a lack of respect, and now our planet is suffering. The Union of Concerned Scientists say we have reached a tipping point on climate action. We have roughly 1 decade left to avoid the most severe consequences of climate change. So to avoid these consequences, we first need to understand what is climate change. Climate change is the average weather conditions over a long period of time and over a large area, such as temperatures increasing or decreasing, a change in rainfall and wind patterns. To find out more information about climate change, I spoke with a lecturer of environmental science at Exeter College. What are the top causes of climate change?
So climate change is a result of initially an increase in temperature, and that temperature has been produced by an increase in greenhouse gases. Notably carbon dioxide is our main greenhouse gas from the combustion of fossil fuels. However, there's multiple other emission sources such as agricultural production of cattle, livestock and rice production releasing methane. We've got the overuse of fertilisers, which is releasing nitrous oxide into the atmosphere, which is another powerful greenhouse gas. But predominantly the cause of climate change is through enhanced greenhouse effect from combustion of fossil fuels.
Worldwide deforestation is a huge problem, as trees are being cut down at an alarming rate of 20 football fields per minute. If this continues, we will lose all our rainforests in less than 100 years, reducing the amount of oxygen and increasing the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. The main reason for deforestation is the farming of animals for human consumption. How do we know humans are responsible for the change in climate?
So we understand that there's a basic chemistry relationship between greenhouse gases and the amount of infrared radiation they can absorb, which translates to temperature increases into the atmosphere. And we understand that we've had a huge increase in carbon dioxide, so from pre-industrial levels, which were 280 parts per million, we're now at 400 parts per million. So we've seen a really dramatic increase in carbon dioxide, and we know that carbon dioxide has a relationship absorbing infrared radiation, and we can correlate those changes with our current temperature rises. We also understand the relationship between natural climate change. Climate's always changed through millions of years of Earth's history, and we understand the quantity of those natural climate change drivers, and scientists are quite clear on how much of our climate change is caused by natural drivers and how much is caused by human drivers. And our most recent increase in carbon dioxide from pre-industrial levels to now far outweighs any kind of natural drivers that we can equate for.
The Aral Sea is an example of a man-made environmental disaster. The sea is located between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and was once the 4th largest landlocked sea in the world. Over 40 years ago, Soviet engineers redirected the 2 main rivers leading into the sea to supply cotton farms with water. This is what the sea looked like in August 1985, and this is what it looks like now. The consequences of these actions have been devastating to the locals. For example, it has affected fertility, increased chances of getting heart and kidney disease, and increased the amount of people who have asthma. Did climate change cause the extreme weather we've seen recently?
So we had a particularly hot day in February, and not that long ago we had some freak weather in the States, didn't we? I think this is a really important question that people want a very definitive yes or no answer to. With climate change, we are increasing the frequency of extreme events. So it's not to say that these events wouldn't happen naturally, but the likelihood of them happening on a particular time scale, the frequency of them happening, is increasing more and more.
What is already being done to stop climate change?
Not enough is being done to stop climate change. We've dipped our toe in the water, if you like. So governments are investing in renewable energy, so if we can switch away from the use of fossil fuels and we can develop more green sources of energy, then that's going to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So investments in the UK have been made into wind power. So last winter we reached a point where we were generating about 35% of our electricity from wind power alone, which is quite promising. Recycling schemes have been implemented quite well, so you probably have a recycling scheme at home. So 20 years ago that probably didn't exist, which means there's less energy being spent on creating new products if you can recycle existing products in society. We've seen designations and legal policies in terms of reducing deforestation. So if we can keep as many trees as possible, then that helps to draw down some of that carbon dioxide that we're increasing.
What are some of the easiest and most effective ways that the public can make a change? Firstly, we can cut down on our meat and dairy consumption, or even stop eating it altogether. We can also cut down on the amount of clothes we buy. Taking more public transport is one of the easiest ways to be greener. And making sure to turn off electricity when you're not using it is also very important.
Thank you.